So, welcome to another episode of What's Your Story? Who do we have here with us today?
It's me, Richard Ty.
And how are you doing today, man?
Man, I'm doing fine. I'm having a good time. Just had a long day of work,
Yes, sir.
enjoying myself. And I'm excited for this. I'm excited to tell you a bunch about like where and how I got to sitting on this couch.
Oh, yeah. And where are you from while we're at it? Where are you from, too, man?
I am from San Antonio, Texas.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Born and raised in Texas. So I'm automatically, I have to be a Spurs fan. So
Yeah, by default.
by default, yes.
Yeah, you definitely have to.
And unfortunately, we got to be a Dallas Cowboys fan too. Sorry, the Cowboys fans, yes.
So I'm just going to let everyone know. This is Ty. I've known Ty. How long I know you now, Ty? Maybe like 3 years now, maybe?
I'm going to go 4.
4?
I'm going to say 4.
All right. So he know that we've been interviewing people all around the area, and then I approached him about doing an interview, and then he was like, "Well, why didn't you ask me sooner?" And I was like, "I didn't know you wanted to do it."
Of course, I want to do this. This is so fun.
Yeah, so I was like, "Bet." So that's how we're here, and like I do every interview. The ball in your court is your story. You tell whatever you want to tell. You start wherever you want to start from, and we just go back and forth with the banter, and that's how this goes. So,
well, I would say like more or less of how I got to Myrtle Beach, because coming from Texas, I actually moved here to work at Pirates.
yeah,
So it all started out. So I was in San Antonio, and my parents are kind of like they moved here, from the war and whatnot, and I'm first generation from them.
yeah,
And from that, like they're always like, you got to grow up and be a doctor or a lawyer or a dentist. Obviously, everybody's parents wants to be something that they weren't, and they want you to, take a step on their life and go higher. Well, I kind of said, fuck that. Sorry.
No,
But
it's fine.
I kind of had to go into, I wanted to be in the athletic side, like I wanted to play sports, and I had more, a drive to be in the athletic side.
Yeah,
And so I went into like soccer, football, every single sport you can imagine, and nothing really like stood out, right?
yeah,
And then, fast forward up to around like high school, and I was in swimming. I was like, oh man, this is awesome. I love to swim. This is pretty cool. I enjoy it. And then one of my buddies was always in diving, and I was like, man, I gotta try that. I gotta try what you're doing. This is really fun. So my coach is the reason why I am where I am right now, sitting in your house, like in Myrtle Beach, is because my coach got me on the track to moving forward in acrobatics and in diving. He got me a job at SeaWorld San Antonio. Like, I was already working there at SeaWorld,
yeah.
but I didn't know that he knew people in the entertainment world.
I didn't know they had a SeaWorld in San Antonio.
Out of all places in the United States, you would think, all right, West Coast, East Coast. No, we're going to put some orcas in Texas.
Yeah, right.
So I got to actually work with the belugas at SeaWorld. So it was cool waking up in the morning knowing that I was like, I'm going to go work with some beluga whales, some Pacific white-sided dolphins. And then you walk in and the sea lion trainers and the dolphin trainers are like, you can't get anywhere near them. I'm like, oh yeah, I will.
Yeah.
I'll sneak over there, and just try to say hi. But it was interesting being like the youngest in that type of entertainment world.
Yeah.
Like everyone's so seasoned, so experienced. And, you're new, you're fresh. You're like, I can do anything. I'm invincible. So then I was like, I'm going to go do another gig. I did another gig. I did a high diving gig. First time I ever did a high diving gig was with Dana Kunze.
How was it?
That was 70 feet. Yeah. So coming from never high diving, and our show that was at SeaWorld was only like, I don't know, as high as the show here. It's 10 meters or 33 feet.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I'm going to go do this high diving gig. what's the job? It was at Busch Gardens. We had to go to, so I went from SeaWorld to Busch Gardens in Virginia. I was like, all right, let's go do this. And they're like, oh, we'll pay you $75 a day to do this. All right. You pay for my housing, right? They're like, yeah, we pay for your housing. I was like, cool, I'll go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got paid $75 a day to go jump off this thing. Never done it before in my life. And it was the best 3 months of my life with the six and then towards the end of the year, we started getting more guys because more guys left. And we had to rotate some guys out. So it was the best 3 months I've ever had being away from like older castmates.
Yeah.
To like my age group. And it was kind of like, and we all talk. We had a reunion too, like last year. Yeah. We had a 10-year reunion. And it was really fun to like meet up with them again. But like those 3 months really set like the pace of like my career. Then from there I went back to SeaWorld to go and like say hi to these old people. Like I say old, but most of them are retired now.
Yeah.
So, but then understanding like, oh man, I'm sorry. I sucked when I first came here. So I'm sorry, everybody. I didn't realize how much of a shithead I was. Like I should have done better to listen.
Yeah.
But then like from there, I actually got, a contact information for the show here. Yeah. It's like, you know what? I'll wait. I did some traveling shows with the same guy. We did fair runs, right?
Yeah.
So it's the same setup, but at state fairs.
Yeah.
And like we would plant like different locations. One was in Georgia, the other one was in Florida. And then from that one, I was like, I'll go do the Myrtle Beach one. So I came here and was here for 10 years performing. I'm still there now. I'm in special effects. Mm-hmm. But I now realize those people that I met my first show at SeaWorld, I'm in their shoes now. And I'm like, wow. I see all these young people coming in and I'm like, I was just like you.
Yeah, fresh. Got to teach them a whole bunch of new things.
It's just like it's the tricks. Everyone has tricks. Everyone can do tricks. I guess it's just more like the experience in the season that like you put on like who you are in a show. And
how did you go from like diving? First off, I got two questions. First one was, how deep was the water when you did the 70-foot dive? And the second question is, how do you transition from diving to acrobatics? Because I see what you do, or I see what you can do. So how did you go from that to acrobatics?
So first question, when I was diving from 70 feet, we went into a 10-foot pool, 25
Only 10 feet?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What? Only 10 feet?
Yeah. 10
That's
feet.
Dangerous. What?
10 feet deep, 25 feet in diameter.
Okay.
So it's, if I could like do this and there's a picture of it, like that would be funny. Like, so you could see like, it's from my point of view down, it's like a cup and everyone looks like a little ant. It's like so funny to look down. You're like, all right, I hope I don't miss today. Yeah. And then, so from diving, like I still contact my coach till this day. He's still coaching till this day. He'll probably do it until he dies. And I went from being a diver and knowing that like, this show wants everything, this and this. Well, the show I did in Virginia had trampoline, tumbling, and diving. So I was like, I think I can do it. I think I can keep up. And I learned most of, if not everything, as a generalist, right, is like what I can do, everything.
Yeah.
Here at Pirates, I learned most of that here. Like I didn't know how to do Chinese poles. I learned it here. I didn't know how to do silks. I never knew how to do aerial, like the ZFX, the one that moves. Yeah. I've never done that. I did it here.
You learned that all here?
Mm-hmm. I learned all of that here. And it's just given the environment of the people that you have around you and having them want to teach you helped a lot.
Yeah.
You know, when they're like, I'm gonna teach you this, I'm like, all right, let's go. Like, let's do it. Like, the only way I'm gonna get better is having you push me. I'm gonna sit here and just be a diver all the rest of my life is not gonna be fun unless I'm with you doing everything else. That's gonna be fun. So yeah, I was like, let's do it. So my first year at Pirates, the guys that were here before me were willing to teach, like, and it was really fun to like pick all that up from them and to get more of their experience. Like, because obviously, you know, like when you're doing your serving and you're teaching someone new, you're like, oh yeah, this is what I do.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that person isn't going to do 100% what you do, but they're going to try to add their little flair into it.
Yeah.
Same when they were teaching me. They're like, oh, this is how I do it. Okay. Well, if I do it my way, I might die. So I'm going to keep doing it your way for a little bit until I figure out how I can do it my way.
How long did it take you to add your own flair into what they were teaching you?
Oh, I was still learning. I was still trying to do it until the end.
Yeah.
Like, so at the end, when I was the captain, right?
Yeah.
I would still go out there kind of nervous. I'll still come out there nervous. I'm like, oh, what? Well, I'm going to try this today. I'm going to try this today. Or, oh, that didn't work yesterday. Let me try something different today.
Yeah.
So like it's a never ending battle. And it was really fun, like, and exciting to like try something new every day, or like, ooh, that didn't work. It's always a testing phase.
Yeah.
In show, and it's fun. Like on a 4-show day, you're gassed, you're tired. You're like, screw it, I'm gonna be silly as hell. You know, I'm gonna take a bunch of pre-workout, see how goofy I can be, how loopy I can be, and do all that I am as a professional acrobat, but also have fun.
Yeah.
And that's why I was like, oh, you know, I can do this. I can do this for another year. I can do this for another year. I can do this pre-workout. I can do this for another year. So yeah, that's where being an acrobat from a diver kind of like got more fun. Because as a diver, you're like limited to being a high diver, fire diver, just a diver.
Basically, I'm about to say there's only so much you can do is what it sounds like.
Yeah, there's a small niche of show diving, right?
Yeah.
Like you see Russian swing.
Yeah.
There is a small group of Russian swing performers in the United States.
Yeah.
Like either your Cirque du Soleil, Russian swing, like top of the line, premium.
Yeah.
Like can't touch anybody there, right? And then you have some Russian swing stuff. And I honestly believe that Pirates is like mid-grade. Like we're there. Like we can get there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I'm having fun here. Like I know that I may never be there.
Yeah.
But I'm happy here.
Yeah.
Like I don't need to struggle and fight every day to get there. Will I? Sure, why not? Let's see how far I can go.
Yeah.
But it's fun here.
So what's the toughest thing you had to learn?
Oh,
you know, between the Chinese pose, between the Russian swings, between the aerial scene. Just it doesn't even have to be
the
Pirates related. It could be anything.
The toughest thing I had to learn was emceeing.
Emceeing, what's that?
Emceeing, like speaking on a mic.
Oh, on a mic.
On a mic in a show was the toughest thing. I have the worst ability of remembering any lines. The worst, the absolute worst. Like you'll show me a paragraph, let me read it for like 2 hours, still won't remember it.
Yeah.
Just can't retain it. And so they were like, hey, you're going to do a half-hour show. Can you do it? No?
Yeah.
Well, it's okay. There's an outline of what you have to say, but then you bullshit the rest.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, I was just going to ask, were there any times that you improvised?
100%. 100%. I forgot my name in one of the shows like I recently did.
Yeah.
Like, this is still recent. Like I'm 31 years old and I still couldn't remember my lines. So at the beginning of the show, we were pretending to be cops in a high diving show, like what I was talking about.
Yeah.
And I was supposed to be a sergeant was the thing, right? And I was supposed to be something sergeant. I can't remember the name now, but I was just like, use your name, but don't say Richard. All right, I'm Sergeant Dick.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't say. Oh, well, yeah. All right, we're here. And then the cast members are looking at me like, what's your name? I'm Sergeant Dick, and I need you guys to head backstage. Terry will be back there waiting for you. There was never a Terry. There was no one back there.
No, that's actually hilarious, bro.
It's at one point I wanted to light a cigarette and just be like, let's see how long I can go until someone gets mad at me.
Yeah.
Didn't do it.
So do you have any advice to anybody that wants to do the same thing that you're doing? As far as like, you know, getting into acrobatics or getting into diving, any tips to anybody or
Stretch every day. I promise you. You stretch every day, you're not going to die when you're 30. I promise you. Your back's going to feel like 50 if you don't stretch.
What about injuries as well? On that. What's the worst injury you've had, and how many injuries have you had?
So
from diving and from transitioning.
It's funny you say that because I think I'm going to actually say it. So, Mom, Dad, I'm sorry. My parents still to this day don't know that I tore my knee in show at Pirates.
For real?
Mm-hmm. My knee was the worst injury I've ever had performing.
Yeah.
You know, tearing my ACL and my meniscus.
Yeah.
It happened during the tumbling scene at Pirates. I landed, my knee tore, and I hopped off stage and was screaming for my boss.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, my knee's torn. Yeah, there's no way two ways about it. I tore it.
Yeah.
So, surprise!
So that was probably your worst injury?
My worst injury, yeah. But it's even funny because they would call me on FaceTime after my surgery and everything, and I'm like locked up in my knee, laying in bed for 6 months, not even working. And they're like, how's work? I'm like, oh, I just got off early today. And I'm like hobbling up to get against a wall to stand, like so I'm not sitting every time they call me. I'm like, yeah. Or leaning up against the side, like the sliding glass. And I'm like, hey, I'm just checking the flowers out today.
Yeah.
6 months. Never knew.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You had any injuries during diving?
Yeah. I actually dislocated my fingers. Not all of them, just like one.
Yeah.
I have a picture of me with like a brace on my finger in a show where you're only wearing a Speedo, so this stands out.
Yeah.
What was another one? Burned my stomach from oil at home at the house.
Yeah.
And had to go do the show in a Speedo, so I had a white Band-Aid just stuck on my stomach like this. But yeah, there is another injury at Pirates. You can actually see that on my Instagram. Plug-in.
Facts. That's exactly what we're doing.
You'll see, like, I actually smashed my back on the tramp wall, like on the frame, and then fell in the water.
Bro, what?
Yeah, like I just messed up. I messed up so bad that I hit the water. Everyone looked. I came out of the water, did this, and swam off. Laid backstage, and I'm like, I think I broke my back. I didn't.
Yeah.
And they're like, you're coming in tomorrow, right? I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
We're good.
Oh, that's crazy, bro.
But I would say if you're planning on being an acrobat, I would say eat your greens, stretch, and just try to have fun. Like just try to have fun being in this industry because it's not a long one.
What's your highest dive? And please don't tell me the pool was 10 feet on your highest, any dive that was higher than 70 feet.
I would say
the pool was 10 feet, bro. That's
honestly,
crazy.
I would say maybe, I think it was 80 feet.
Bro, does your head not hit the water?
No, you go feet first.
You go feet. I know your feet touched the bottom, right?
It was 15 feet. This was in Fort Lauderdale.
Okay. So this was 15. Okay.
It was 15 feet.
It's a little bit better.
No, is it 15?
Better than 10.
No, it's not 15. It's like 18 or 20. It's somewhere around there.
Good.
It's a lot deeper because I was so used to like saving myself at 10 feet.
Yeah.
And so when it was deeper, I was like, oh no, I have nothing to push off of. I already gassed out my air out of my lungs. And I'm like trying to swim up.
Like, what are you thinking when you're up there and then
don't die?
I
am not even joking. I am, as much as you want, like the serious answer is to not die. Because I have this tick and it works for me every time I'm up there. You can ask anyone who's ever seen me high dive. Yeah. I will start playing the drums on my thighs before I jump. I'll sit there and go.
Is that like a calming technique?
For some reason, it works.
Yeah.
I did it during competition when I was diving in competitions, and then I remembered that tick when I started high diving, and I was like, gonna do it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this every time.
Yeah.
And it works. So like if you ever get a chance, like if I go high diving again this year, I will show you that video. You'll see like, and then go.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest thing.
And then after you do your little
Like,
drums, you just
don't
jump
die.
off.
Yep. Yeah. Don't die.
Bro, what is running through your mind as you like fall? I know don't die, but it's like, damn, bro. It's like, because once you off, it's like, shit, I'm
So
off now.
on a serious note on that, I would say like when I'm high diving, I guess I would like, I'm just trying to see where the water is, right?
Yeah.
Right. I know that's like a simple answer, but I'm just trying to know where I am. I'm feeling where I'm going to hit and get ready for the impact. Because I did like, I don't know, 2-3 dives, right?
Yeah.
And my legs, like all of my hamstring was starting to get sore. And I was like, man, I normally don't hammer out 6 or 7 high dives in practice like this, because it was a camp that I went and did.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I usually do like maybe one every like, I don't know, 3 hours, 2 hours. And I was hammering out like every 10 minutes. And I started getting sore. It sucks. When you hit it wrong, your body gets rocked. Like there was one guy, one of the old guys at SeaWorld, he told me a story. He was like, he was Bulgarian? He was Russian. And he told me when he was first starting out high diving, he landed wrong. We call it short or long, right? Depending, like if you go long, you go over. Well, he went long, so he went over to his back, and he took the water right up. That he had to run backstage, move his Speedo, dump the water out of him, and get back on stage. And I was like, yeah, so the water is powerful. It will mess you up. You can watch some of the Red Bull cliff diving guys. You know, like they'll explain to you how fast they're traveling. The girls are powerful. Like for them to go that high and the guys going that high, and the tricks that they're throwing from Red Bull, I'm nowhere near. But their tricks are just so insane. If you ever get the chance, look up Red Bull cliff diving. And then I got 2 people I want to say. Melly and Nate Jefferson.
Yeah.
Those 2 people, awesome.
I heard you mention competitions earlier. Have you won any diving competitions? What's the highest you've placed, I should say?
Second. Yeah.
So you never got first?
No. We had a kid named Crystal Law, and he was a freshman when I was like a junior or like a senior. I don't know. All I know is he was a senior or freshman.
Yeah.
Me and my synchro partner could never beat him because he's been diving since he could walk. And of course, when he joins high school, we only learned through high school. We only had like a couple of years under our belt, and he's had since his entire life. So we would always lose to him, but we always trained together. So we knew him, and like we would always talk, and like always funny guy. He's a coach now for a college. Like he's that good now.
Oh, word.
He could have gone to the Olympics. Like he's that good.
Have you ever had any dreams of going to the Olympics?
No.
Nah, I never took it that serious. Just want to have fun with it. My
parents didn't want me to join diving. Yeah. Nobody in my family wanted me to be in a sport because my grandma was always like, it's too taxing on your body.
Yeah.
Like she's more of like, preserve your body. You'll know when you get to my age. You'll thank me. Well, I'm halfway there to her age.
Can you feel it now a little bit?
Oh, man. So because of my knee injury, my knee is like a barometer. Like I'll know when the storm's coming. Like tomorrow, there's supposed to be a storm, right?
Yeah.
I'll know. My back will know.
Yeah.
I'll wake up some days and I have to roll out of bed. I'm like, man, I need a stretch. You know?
So how does your family feel about it now since you've been doing it for years now? So
they're happy that it's over, I guess, because I left Pirates as a performer. They're happy. They're relieved that the stress of knowing that they may get a phone call of like, hey, your son didn't make it, you know?
Oh yeah.
So like they
Yeah.
know it's a high risk, medium reward, I guess.
Yeah.
Depending on how you want to look at it. I would say for me, it was like high risk, high reward. Because I enjoyed it so much to look out in the audience and know that I'm going to see somebody just losing it and having a good time. And you're like, that's why I get paid. And that's why I'm coming every day
That's
to do
what
it.
you do it for. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, it was fun to mess with the audience. Like some days where I was like, I'm going to run in the audience. And I would run in the audience and I'm like, I'm going to eat your chicken. I got chicken.
Yeah.
I had so there was a guy named Steven Sherbert and he grabbed the chicken during tumbling
Yeah.
from the audience member
Yeah.
and ate it. He had to go run, placed it on the floor, did his tumble pass, came back, grabbed the chicken, ate it again. And the server had to come down and give him another chicken.
So what's your craziest story you got since being an acrobat? That you've had happen to you since being an acrobat? Craziest story. I feel like y'all should have a lot, honestly.
Craziest?
And also, I'll make this a 2-part question. Craziest story you got, and also, how do you feel when you're recognized outside of work, or have you ever been recognized outside of work? You know, especially when you were like captain.
All right, so I'm gonna answer the being spotted out first, right?
All right.
This wasn't when I was a captain, but I had a family who spotted us out, you know, in the wild.
Yeah.
And it was just like, they were in the show. And we look over and we're like, where's the kid? And we saw the kid and we all like ran up to him. We're like, hey, how'd you like being a pirate?
Yeah.
And they're like, ah! We're like, yeah! And we would do it back to them and they would do it back. And we're like, we just kept going, ah! And it's really nice, actually. It's like they get to see us like out of performing clothes, but it never turns off. You never turn that off. You never like, yes, I'm in theater.
Yeah.
I'm a performer. Don't look at me. I'm not in my. No, you make that kid smile the same way when he saw you in clothes, like pirate clothes, like or in performing clothes, whatever.
Yeah.
You're gonna keep performing. It never turns off. You know. For like, I would say like another instance was when I was at Busch Gardens, right?
Yeah.
The divers had Sundays off, and everyone else had ran like Mondays, or I can't remember. It was one of the two. But we had an odd day off from all the other theaters, so we would go and see their shows when we were off. And we were sitting next to a group, and we were like 6 canned motherfuckers watching a show and being the loudest, obnoxious people. Well, someone was like, aren't you guys the performers at the water show? We're like, yes, we are. You want to hang out with us in the amusement park? They're like, yes, we do. We're like, let's go. Let's go have some fun. And we just get blacked out at Busch Gardens, like drink around the world at Busch Gardens. And just with random guests, we're like, you saw our show, you're friends, let's go.
That is so live, bro. That's so live. I can tell by how you're talking about it, like you love making other people happy and like you love making other people's day, bro. That's dope, bro.
I don't know. I guess if you had a memory to like enjoy, like, oh yeah, we were at this place and we got to hang out with the performers and we got drunk with them. Like, I wouldn't say like the drinking side would be the best part, but just like hanging out and having fun, you know, like they're going to remember that. They're going to come back to Busch Gardens another year and be like, are they still here?
Yeah.
You know, like, are they like, oh, there's another group of performers, and they'll share that story, what they did. And the cycle may go on, may end right there, but they'll remember it, you know?
Yeah, it's a memory.
Yeah. As far as like the wildest thing, I can't say wild because it's been wild, you know, like every day at a show when something wrong happens or something crazy happens, it always gets topped, you know, like it's all situational, you know, like some days I'm like, oh man, is this Russian swing going to fall apart one day? Well, I'm going to be riding it all the way until it stops. You know, like, but as far as like crazy would be the trampoline. Like where I smashed my back in show.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, this really sucks. No, actually, you know what? Here's a good one. Here's a good story. So I was on Russian swing, and most of the people who probably are gonna we know this story already.
Yeah.
So I have fallen off Russian swing, 3 different accounts on all 3 different positions on the swing that you see in show.
Mm-hmm.
So like the guy in the front, the flyer, the middle guy, and the back pusher.
Yeah.
So as the back pusher, I fell off the back of the swing as it was going forward. So as it went forward, I fell backwards and I got flinged underneath the swing.
Well, that's dangerous.
So I guess the easiest way to we were looping, right? So it was after the first 3 guys and we're looping and I'm getting ready to switch back to the back position. So the swings in the front, I miss the bar completely. My hands go, I'm just falling out of the swing now. So the swing goes back, I'm completely out, and the swing goes forward, and I get flicked underneath the swing, didn't hit the concrete, didn't hit that little post that's right there in the corner. Didn't hit any of it. I held my head, and I landed in the water. And I didn't die. So I got back out of the water. I got back on the swing and pushed the final 3 flyers.
Yeah.
Well, you know who Aaron is, right? Aaron?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Well, he was the Russian swing captain at the time.
Yeah.
He's on the billboard and he's doing this.
Okay. I know the billboard.
Hopefully he sees this. He knows him. He has a catchphrase. He goes, yeah.
I know the billboard.
Well, that's him.
Okay.
Well, he never saw it. He was a foot away from me when I hit the water.
Yeah.
I came out of the water and I ran back. So I'm feeling the pain of my ankle, and it's because it rolled my ankle as it flicked me underneath. I get on the swing. He was like, why did he get off? He saw me get back on. He didn't realize what happened. So I pushed the final 3. I get backstage. I lay down, and the guy who was in the middle, he was like, are you okay? And they're like, what's going on? What happened to him? He got flicked underneath the swing during show. And I guess the audience thought it was a real thing because someone said that they cheered because they thought it was an impressive trick.
Oh, word.
I was like,
I mean, they don't know, they don't know what's supposed to happen. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I will say I did get out and I went,
yeah.
I didn't die. I even told Haley that too. She was like, are you okay? I'm like, I mean, my ankle hurts, but I'm alive. And then on the front of the swing, when Austin Bradley saved me, I went backwards off the swing.
Yeah.
And I was doing a back 1.5, right? So you do a back tuck, and then you add a half rotation to your head. Yeah. Well, I almost landed on my head on the concrete right in front of the swing, and he pushed me right before I came down.
Pushed you into the water.
Mm-hmm.
Boy.
It wasn't here's the edge of the concrete, and I was here. I was about to skin my back.
Yeah.
And he pushed me, injuring himself because he knew it was coming. So that was a crazy moment. And that was early in my
early in your time at Pirates?
Yeah, I would say year 3, maybe 4.
Well, you got to thank him, boy.
Oh, of course. Yeah. And I always feel bad. And he's like, oh, my wrist hurts. I'm like, I'm sorry. Well, thank you. But yeah, those are the crazy ones. I guess that's one that sticks. Yeah.
All right. So we're close to wrapping this up.
Yeah.
We have a tradition here. I know you gave some advice earlier, but look into that camera. This one right here.
Okay.
And if you have any motivating words, any inspirational words to anyone that wants to do with you, what you do, or just anyone in general to uplift them, motivate them to keep going, don't give up, anything like that, just go ahead and just say it into that camera.
I would say don't be the person let me see how I could formulate this in the right way. Because a word of affirmation for me, every day, is just be the better version of yourself. Any chance you can be, right? When you wake up every morning, you want to smile because you're going to smile through the rest of the day. And if you can smile through the hard stuff, you can smile through the happy stuff, you're always going to be in a better mood any chance you can be. And you're always going to be happier for being that way. And don't let people who don't think that way drag you down. Just smile through it, be happy, and have a good time while you're living, because it's going to go fast. You're going to look back at this one day in your life and it's gone.
Yeah, man. That's real.
Yeah.
That's real.
Yeah.
Hey, man. Well, thank you for joining us. Thank you for giving us your time. We really do appreciate it.
Yeah.
And that ends another episode of What's Your Story?
This is your story.